slave set over there. That's the slave house. And this is a low-key plantation, but they didn't say it all in the information. So this is the house right here.
Yeah, they think you slow. I'm gonna ask her.
It's just self-guided, so you walk around at your own pace.
Oh, okay.
I have a question.
Cool, because it's hot.
I ain't trying to sound racist in that, but is this a slave plantation?
Yes, they did. We did have slaves here on property. Unfortunately, today we can't tell you much about them because that paperwork doesn't exist. But what's really neat is behind the house today is a cabin that was a slave cabin. And behind that is what we do the very small slave cemetery. It was found at the front of the zoo in 1988 when they were building the wildlife park. And about 4.5 years ago, we moved it from the front to the back. So we actually learned really cool things about it. Every person buried in that cemetery was buried in their own casket, which I think is pretty unique. They also had beads, buns, and cloth, so they were buried with their possessions. And then they also, when they looked at the bones, they determined that no one died of trauma. So either it was disease or natural causes. Wow. But we don't have names or anything like that. But it's really interesting. But yeah, you guys want to come in?
Yeah. This is their porch area. I'm going to sit on this chair. I'm not going to even lie. I'm very creeped out a little bit. I'm sitting in this very old chair, about 100+ years old, and I'm very creeped out. Very, very creeped out. There's a lot of things that I've seen in this house that I've seen in horror movies. Everything in this house is like 100+ years old, and there's just so much history and so much like things I feel, you know. I don't know how to explain it. We're the only black people in here too.
We know that the house was made by slave labor. So we have evidence that the slaves made all the bricks here. And the bricks were made in a kiln that were between the smokehouse and the Lord Keep Landing.
Now I'm walking to where the slaves used to, what is that? They used to sleep there? But I really think
they took everything out of it to make it look like it was something else in here. But
the cure, where they cure meat and stuff. That's where my ancestors used to sleep. And there's just so many people that is just so like shame. There are old cars and a horse den. But I believe this is where they used to torture slaves and shit. But this is their cars. So this is officially the end of the vlog, but I wanted to voice my opinions and my thoughts about my experience at that slave plantation. Now, if you are uncomfortable with these type of topics, then, you know, you can just click out. I understand. And, you know, go on about your day. You have a good day. When I got onto the property, I didn't know that it was a slave plantation. But when we asked the tour guide, it was a slave plantation. There were slaves there. And, you know, they so happened to turn that whole Grassmere plantation, part of it, they turned into the zoo that we went to. That within itself, it kind of blew my mind and kind of made me feel some type of way. I don't know how to explain how I felt. Not so much bamboozled or scammed, but I felt some type of way. You know what I mean? Next thing that I wanted to say is visiting that slave plantation kind of gave me a sense of humbleness. I feel very grateful. Had it been me in this current day, you know, my attitude, how I voice myself and how I'm so proud and this and this and this, to have my personality and have this color skin, I definitely would not have made it, period. Now, I know you guys may be like, well, this happened back in the 1800s, over 200 plus years ago, It's still a part of history, so shut the fuck up and let me talk about it. And there's racism still going on, so let me just sit and let me talk about it real quick. The backs that have been broke in the fields, the women that have been raped, the women that have been mistreated, the men that have been overworked, the respect that we got, the little that they gave us, the ignorant and mean people that we had to be encountered with. Like, it's so much that African Americans have been through back then, and even till this day. It's crazy for you not to be proud of how far we've came. I'm so proud to be African American and Polynesian. I don't get how some people can be so ashamed of their blackness. They want straighter hair, they want a slimmer nose, they want lighter skin. I don't get that. It's kind of disgusting to me, but whatever. I just wanted to say that real quick. And another thing that I wanted to mention is the tour guide lady, right? Now, I'm not, you know, the most woke African American in America, but I am aware of, you know, my African American history. I listen to a lot of African American historians. I watch a lot of Hidden Colors. I, you know, like to do my own research and put things into my own perspective. So when this lady had mentioned to me some things about the slaves, I was appreciative of her information, but I felt that she was really trying to appeal to our better nature or not trying to piss us off. This lady had said that she had dug up the slaves and, you know, looked through their things that was in the coffin. She examined their bones, you know, just pretty much took them apart, placed them back together, put them in a fucking casket and buried them, right? So she did all of that, and she had came up with this hypotheses that these slaves were not mistreated. They didn't die from forced trauma, so they wasn't whipped, you know, they wasn't pushed, they wasn't raped, they wasn't hit upside the head, they wasn't shot, none of that. She said that they died naturally as if these slaves was not in the field 25 hours out the day, sweating their ass off, you know, and exhausted as fuck. You wonder why they got heart failure. I was like, are you really gonna do that? You really gonna sprinkle some bullshit over that? Like these slaves wasn't mistreated? I'm sorry. I know that in my heart of hearts that none of these slave masters from back in the day was nice. They were compromised. They were not nice. Even the Christians of the Christians had slaves. They may have let you walk in the house and get you a glass of water, but as soon as you disrespect the fuck out of them, they will beat you, they will shoot you, and they will cut off your fucking foot like Kunta Kinte. So you can't tell me that these slaves were not mistreated. Like, that's utter bullshit to me. And that's why I felt like, you really gonna sit there and tell that lie? But okay, whatever. Thank you for the information. I'm going to the slave quarters and gonna check it out. Another thing that I wanted to mention is the eerie feeling that I had in that house. Like, it was making me a little bit shook, you know. I stepped into the house, everything was fine. I really loved, you know, the evolution of the dishes, seeing different dishes, the portraits and all of that stuff. It really moved me because I love those type of things. But as soon as I stepped in the kids' room or the boys' room, right? Tell me why there was a lot of toys in that room that was relative to the horror film The Boy. So I was like, did they used to do witchcraft or some shit? Like, what the fuck? And then they had a doll with its head cut off on a rocking chair. Like, I'm sorry, it just gave me a eerie feeling. I had to keep recording it because I really wanted to show you guys, but me looking in that room, it was very unsettling for me. My black instinct was like, get out. The other tour guide man had told me that one of the ladies, or one of the last 2 generations of sisters that lived there, Elise, she had died in her room specifically, and they was letting people walk through that room and look around and all of that stuff. I was like, oh no, you have 5 generations of people from the 1800s all the way to 1974, 5 generations of people living in that house. You got different personalities, you got different spirits. You cannot tell me that there ain't no, you know, spiritual crazy shit going on in there. And the guy was like, oh no, it's perfectly fine. Yeah, my boss comes here at night. She hasn't had any experiences. No. I was like, yeah, okay. But I'm stepping in here 30 minutes later and I'm feeling all types of things, okay? And then on top of that, you have spirits of slaves on that plantation. So you can't tell me that there's nothing going on in that whole house. But anyway, all in all, I really love the experience of just, you know, going to see history. But I really would have loved to know more about the slaves and how they lived, how they slept, what they ate, all of that stuff. Even though there is like this thought of how slaves ate, slept, all of that stuff from slave movies. If you've seen slave movies, then you know that it's never pretty. I feel like that since it is a slave plantation, I think you need to tell the whole truth and not half the truth. Since you're going to preserve Grassmere Slave Plantation and turn it into a zoo, I think people need to know exactly what happened on a slave plantation. That's just all I had to say. I just had to get it out at the end of this video. I'm sorry that it's so long. Then again, sorry not sorry. If you are offended, I'm just trying to keep it real here. But that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any concerns, comments, or anything that you want to say, let me know in the comments and we can talk about it respectfully. Please do not, you know, go ham and say crazy shit, because I will delete you, I will block you. And you know, we're just gonna leave it at that. But I'll see you guys in the next video.